Cody. Coby, an all-star. Folks, welcome to Vulnerability Time All-Star Season. Season 4. Cody, this is episode 6, folks, I believe. I guess we'll find out when it actually airs. So, Kobe is back, folks. You remember him from season 1. Definitely a fan favorite. Kobe, since season 1, which was like, what, a year ago, year and a half ago, or something like that? I don't know.
Something around that range, yeah.
Yeah, what you been up to, man? I know you're still pursuing your degree, right?
Oh, I graduated. Um,
What? Wait, really?
yeah, I got my degree, chemical engineering. I am not doing the same job I was doing because it was an internship, so it was temporary. But
Hmm.
I'm a full time chemical engineer
Oh my
with my
gosh,
degree.
Kobe, you didn't post anything about it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of just I don't like to post
I
too
see what
much
you
about
mean.
really anything.
I see what you mean. I know what you mean. Stereotypical Instagrammer like myself. Oh my god, look, folks, this is what I'm doing. I graduated.
Hell yeah. I mean, I probably should have posted like graduation pictures. I got on that train way too late, and I was like, oh damn.
No, I
but
get that. Oh, congratulations, though. Oh my gosh. What?
thank you.
I
Long time coming.
definitely. Hmm.
Long
I
time coming.
I definitely posted because I know one of our topics or possible topics today is chasing dopamine. Because I definitely posted my graduation photos, not because I was obviously really 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 proud of it, but I would be lying if I said there was at least part of it to get a dopamine hit. I definitely wanted some type of dopamine hit, so I chased that dopamine by any means necessary by posting the photo. And
Yeah, I mean, this. Trust me, I know the feeling. Like,
yeah,
ooh, this is gonna. Yep.
I'm trying to like get away from that. But a topic that I definitely wanted to at least start off on was forgiving the time you lost.
Right.
That's something that stood out to you, Kobe. What does that
hmm
topic mean to you? Like,
Uh, it means a couple of things. This is probably the one where I'm gonna have like the most difficult time trying to like relate it in a general sense to our audience here, hoping they
relate
can
it the
kind of
best that
relate
you
in some
can to
way.
yourself because regardless, someone's gonna understand
Yeah,
regardless. So, yeah.
I think so. So, in one sense, I think my relation with me and my dad, because, and I want to say like love dad, amazing man, love that dude. Talk to him more now than ever, and so when I was like younger, we kind of do stuff every once in a while, go hunting, fishing, whatever. But I think
Oh.
as I started to get into like high school and even like middle age, heading
Kobe, do you
towards
have a place with a
like
better
education, like
Do you have a place with a better Wi-Fi connection? Where were you previously when we first started this?
I was in my apartment last time.
No, no, I
We
mean like
try.
before we started this call, wherever you were had a great Wi-Fi connection.
I was in the same room.
Oh, oh, okay. Well,
Is it better now?
yeah, it's better now. I'll let you know if it
Okay.
needs a correction. You know how Wi-Fi is. Wi-Fi is weird. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So early on, relationship with dad was very good, but as I got into like high school, even some of middle school, especially in college, like any of those things just kind of went away because he really, really cared about my education and wanted me to
Mm-hmm.
succeed. Because his perspective was he grew up super dirt poor and just had to work for like 30, 35 years, just to even get to where he was with having me. And I think in his mind, it's just like, you could start off so much better than I ever dreamed of and could be so much more successful. You know how, you know, most dads are to their kids, and that was definitely the case. And he didn't really care too much about anything else other than me getting my education. And so I think eventually it just kind of shifted to like you need to worry about your grades and school and so all that stuff kind of fell off like pretty fast for like over probably 12, 13 plus years, counting like till today.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like now that I'm a full grown adult, starting my career, like I've gotten the opportunity, I moved out and I've gotten an opportunity to reflect on a lot of things. And one of them was I just never got to spend very much time with him. Now, I'd say I'm probably Obama's boy. Like she was always around and trying to. Well, she was definitely trying to be a coddler as much as possible, and well, so there weren't no issues there. But like I'm making the decision now that I have time to reflect to like try to do more stuff with my dad because I was thinking about it and like, dang, like I feel like I missed all this time. So I don't want to keep missing time. I want to make the conscious effort to try to go do stuff and not necessarily trying to make up for anything because I don't regret and
Right.
like, I don't hold any like hard feelings towards him or anybody because like it got me to where I am now.
Right.
And so I don't like hold that against anybody or
Yeah.
him, but at the
I
same
like what you
time, like,
said really quick. I like what you said. Pretty much you stated the principle of like time lost isn't always intentional. And sometimes
mm-hmm,
it is a reality that, has to be done. Like
mm-hmm.
sometimes you can't really escape that. Um, I see where you're going with this, and I'm excited to hear it because there's this point you're already about to make, and I'm just so excited to that point.
Well,
But keep
if I
continuing.
don't make it, then please feel free to say something because I want you to say what you want to say.
Okay, yeah, I got you. We'll do. We'll do.
um, but oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm a dog. Um, but yeah, so now I'm making the conscious effort to just take advantage of this now because I mean, of course we have free will now, especially I'm out of the house, can do whatever I want. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm choosing to because it's something that kind of got on my mind. And I was like, well, now that I'm an adult, I can do what I want to do, and I want to make the effort to make time with my dad because I don't want to keep on like missing my dad and keep on wishing I had done stuff with him. Like now that I can make these decisions like completely on my own, then I'm going to go ahead and take full advantage of that.
Yeah.
So it's not so much as like again trying to make up for anything, but it's just now that I'm completely aware that I have the opportunity to do so without any constraints, I'm gonna I'm gonna do that because I'm choosing to do it and it's what I want. And
You made the point.
yeah,
You
okay.
made the point. You made no, like you made the point that I was thinking of. You made the point, by the way. Just wanted to let you know that.
No, yeah, you can go ahead and restate it. I want to make sure we're kind of on the same page in what you were talking about. That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, no. 'Cause, you had mentioned if you don't make the point, let you know. I was like, oh no, you made the point. I already knew you were gonna make it. So pretty much like a way to, in a sense, forgive time you lost. Could be like a method for that could be intention. Like I forgot what. Let's see, I forgot what I was gonna say. It pretty much is like an intentional effort and an intentional action, with the specific a person or event that you could
Hmm.
do now. Pretty much, it's like it's not too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late. Does that make sense?
Yes. No. Yeah. You're
Mm.
totally right. Like, I mean, I'd say in theory, yeah, it's never too late. And I mean, if
Yeah.
it's on your mind and you're able to take action, why not? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing holding you back theoretically, and
Right.
I'd say that's the case for me. So I'm definitely gonna do it since I have the chance.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, since you have the chance. Yeah, because there are definitely a lot of circumstances where people don't have the chance.
Yeah, I
It's
want
just
to
like,
always kind of clarify, like there are extenuating circumstances sometimes, and I understand that. So
yeah,
um, I always want to clarify for sure.
yeah, but for people that, do have, because like this, your words are gonna hit the right ears at the right time. So, for those, listening that do have that chance to, make up for time or move forward, with time, in time. Um, I feel like you saying that, is going to benefit a lot of people in their connections and their relationships. Because honestly, at the end of the day, we don't know when someone is going to leave, and that doesn't necessarily mean them leaving this earth. It could be another, like, for example, like, don't get arrested. But I'm saying, like, if you got arrested, you know what I mean. Like, in a sense, that is a form of leaving because you're not going to have the same type of contact that you could have
Yeah,
had if you weren't,
sure.
So I feel like, you saying that it's definitely going to benefit someone who right now can make time. And because of what you said, you know, uh, in a year from now, they're going to be so grateful that you said what you said because they might lose someone in 2 years from now. But because of what you said
Mm.
today, they're like, you know what, I'm going to go spend time with this person. This is a sign. Coby is a sign. So go spend time with this person, And it's like, it doesn't even have to be something super scary or traumatic like the person dying. Like, it could just be like, I don't, I don't know. I feel like I'm confusing myself. But the point that I
I
made.
know what you're saying.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Continue. Boom.
Um, well, it's kind of like what you said. It doesn't necessarily have to mean they pass away or anything, but you just you never really know. Relationships can kind of fall apart without too much
Mm,
notice, and I mean, God forbid that ever happen, and you don't want that. I've definitely experienced it before, with friends and family and stuff like that. So, um, and it's also important to be honest with yourself. Like, do I have the time to do this? And like I think that's the first thing you need to kind of assess yourself before you really start making plans. Like, if you do have the time, and because you don't want to make promises to like keep like not following through because stuff comes up or whatever, but you also need to make time. So it's just kind of a balance through every person's kind of experience. But I think being honest with yourself and saying like, do I have the time? Yes. Okay. Go from there. And yeah, definitely want to do that in case, God forbid anything happened. But it's just, I don't know. If that's something you want to do and it's weighing on your heart, doesn't need to sit there any longer.
right, right. Yeah. And speaking of time, like, I was reading this post on Instagram. Pretty much it said, it takes like point 0.4 seconds or something like that, point something seconds to send a text and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, how are you?" And it's like everything that you just said, like, it helped convict me because I'm definitely that person. I
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think we all are definitely at times for sure.
for me, like, I was really excited when you wanted to share on this topic because, like, for me, just in general, I hate time. I'm just not a fan of it. And I don't mean it necessarily in like a traumatic way. I, I genuinely like hate time. And you would think my near death experience would make me love time or be grateful for it. But I'm just not grateful for time. And that's just in a general sense. However, hearing you talk about it, it kind of helps put an aspect of time in perspective, as in like time
Mhm.
with others, rather than just a general time. Just like it can be like time with others, time with those that you really appreciate. If you are able to do so, to do so.
Mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I understand your sentiment in a certain to a certain extent about not liking time because I say this quite often. Like, there's so many things I want to like do and accomplish, but there's only one lifetime. There's some things I want where it would take like two or three of them. Very long journeys. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. And so in that sense, I do like I kind of share that sentiment, but on the same or the other side of it is like, well, because there's time, but there's only one lifetime, and it's like, well, now it starts making you kind of prioritize things that you really value and start making some decisions. Because I'm known
Mm-hmm.
to be very indecisive, but things can happen, and it'll start making you make some decisions pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's I definitely share that sentiment too, to an extent, and but I can also see the other side of it. So
Yeah. I'm
I see what you're saying.
curious. What are your thoughts on, speaking of time, there's like multiple aspects, the complexity of time. Time can be so simple yet so complex depending on the situation or the person you're talking to. But I'm curious because what falls in all aspects of time is patience.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts of when you have to wait with time, which is patience? What are your thoughts on that? Because that shit's hard for
Mm,
me. Patience is hard for me.
it patience. I say it's a virtue, dear Lord. It can be very difficult. I think I'm like good at it in some situations, but bad in others. Like when it comes to dealing with other people and whether it be relationships or friendships, just taking into account people's quirks and people's like tendencies or habits that maybe they're fixing, or this is something about them, or there's a period of time where it's difficult and they have to get through it. Like, I'm more than willing to be patient in any type of situation or sense that's related to that. But when it comes to when it comes to myself and work and things of that nature, then that's when I kind of start to get impatient. I don't know. I'm very soft towards others, but when it comes to me, I tend to be pretty hardened at times because I'm like, well, there's nothing. I'm just dealing with me, so there shouldn't be like as much time spent on it. And I don't know. It's definitely something I'm working on for sure because it's not. You don't need to
Yeah,
be
it's a
so hard on
process.
yourself. Like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With it, like whether you feel hardened about it or you're hard on yourself or not, like you'll still get it done. Like just being patient more often than not ends up leading to like clearer thinking and making more sound decisions because being impatient can kind of lead you to be a little emotional and kind of make decisions on the spot that maybe you wouldn't have if you would have just thought about it for like just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And just I've noticed there's things that I do sometimes where I do that and then I reap the repercussions of that. I'm like, damn, could have just thought about that for a second and
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't have happened. But so I'd say that is my overall opinion on patience. I think if there's things that really matter to you, then you will be patient for it.
Yeah.
And just I don't know. Patience is amazing, but there also are times where you have to kind of go against the grain a little bit because I'm the most like one of the most passive people ever. But even like there's some times where I realize I gotta I gotta hurry up with this. Like I'm gonna have to ruffle some feathers about this. I don't care. Like I need to get this done. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'd say that's my overarching opinion on patience.
I have a very drive through society mentality principle when it comes to patience. Like, I'm just like, I feel like if I have to wait on it, I feel like that means something's wrong. And so, like, I hate that waiting part because I feel like something's wrong. Because it's just like when I experience like waiting, for example, literally, it's a huge aspect when it's a huge part of my reasoning. It seems small, but it became a huge part. It's like, for example, when you're at a drive-through or or something like that. Or even like when you're waiting to hear back from an employer or
Hmm.
a university,
Oh
you
God.
know, I'm like, if
Oh, I
something
get.
is taking too long, I just experienced that means something's wrong with it. Either I didn't get accepted into the university because that happened to me in high school. Um,
Mm,
so and also like yeah, drive-throughs, like you know, I'm like if I'm waiting this long, usually I experience because something was wrong with my order, or I mean, or they did something wrong, or they forgot about it. Whatever it is, something out of my control is making me wait. And
mm,
it's when something gets out of my control. Because when I associate waiting, I associate it with something being wrong. Or something,
gotcha.
yeah, or something just being like a false promise. Because, like, growing up, like, my parents, like, they would say, especially my mom, she would be like, um, oh, just wait, I'll get you this, just wait. And she never did it. Like, so I'm just like, I'm associating with it. I was just like, okay, something's forgotten. Something's a broken promise. Something's wrong. And so it's like, when I'm trying to be
Yeah.
patient, yeah, and
I,
I'm just like, and
trust me, I feel what you're saying. When it like when it comes to employers, although I'm completely self aware about this. My
mhm,
senior year of college, I'm trying to find a job. I was like stressed to the max the whole
yeah,
senior year. So like any interview, any job I was waiting to hear back from, I knew I was being impatient, and if I didn't hear back within like 2 days, I would just get so mad, and then I would just move on to like the next job, like it never even happened, just because I wasn't gonna like sit there and like stew about it. I'm like, no, like
mhm,
I need to keep
right,
applying and finding jobs because this isn't gonna help. And but I also knew I was being irritable and being like this way and being impatient because I knew that I was stressed about finding a job.
right. Yeah, those other mitigating factors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then as far as like um just little examples of like maybe you asking somebody to do something or them saying they'll do it and they don't do it, I don't know. I've found that it's usually, it's not personal. Like people people just forget. Like they're
Yeah,
allowed
like
to
that
forget. Like
happens.
we find
Mhm.
ourselves like I'll get upset about something like that and then I'll end up doing the same thing later on. Like, damn. Look at that. It's just it's not personal, and especially if it's out of your control, like
Yeah.
applying to any situation, whether it's a small thing as a drive-through order or a big thing like waiting on a job, like it is out of your control. So there's two ways of looking at it where you can it can affect you, right? And you don't understand like why this is happening because you did everything right on your end. And you can also look at it as like, well, I did everything right on my end, so what else is there to
Hmm.
put more into this emotionally, right? Like just
Right.
at that point, you just kind of gotta let it go. That's what I've learned personally.
Yeah. I like the graceful approach, um, and impartial approach that you've been taking with this. It's really humbling because me, I hate, I hate every aspect of time. Um, I hate that we have to wait because, but you know, from your, what you shared with us about like your experience with your father, um, like, and what you just shared now, there's two things that I think of that it made me think about is one, sometimes things just happen. Like
Yep.
sometimes things just happen. Like, like if you want to go to college, you know what I mean? It's a lot of the times it's just gonna happen that you will be spending less time. It's a possibility that you will be spending less time with, people that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean there's like no time, but it's like, it is another factor. Um, it's another aspect implemented to your time that you didn't have before. And so it's like it's and then the second thing, it's like have grace on yourself because when is the best it's this principle. When is the best time to start something? Or when is the best time to plant a tree even?
Hmm.
10 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. So it's like,
Yep.
when's the best? So it's like for folks, I would just say to folks who are like, needing or wanting to reach out to a family member or to like a friend, a loved one, but they're just like, oh, okay, I'll text them tomorrow. It's like, and they're like beating themselves up. I was like, when's the best time? Yesterday. To reach out to them is yesterday, but when's the second best time? Today. It's like,
Yep.
don't be too hard on yourself.
Exactly.
I mean, I
It's
still
awesome.
hate time, me personally, but it's great to it's great to hear another's perspective, and
Hmm.
I know within a multitude of sacred texts, that's including like the Bible and Buddhism, like teachings of Buddhism and just things of that nature, and all the rest. I don't feel like explaining all of it, but patience um, is important because patience plays a part into a multitude of things, and honestly, it also saves you a lot of. Um, it can save you a lot of like emotional hurt. Just like being
Yep. It
patient.
sure can.
Yeah. But
It sure can.
for me, I'm just like, it's a learning process. I'm patient with people, because,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but good Lord, like, I applied for a lot of like federal jobs, okay? And the thing
Hmm.
is, like, one, their application process, it already is long. But
Oh,
two,
it's so bad.
so bad, man. But two, it's like they don't even
It's
start looking at applicants until the date that it's closed. And I've applied for dates that close all the way from November 2023 to November 2024. So it's like
mm.
I'm not even going to be considered until after those dates. And most of those dates is like
Yeah.
2024. And it's like I don't know, it's forcing me, Coby, to just be like, as much as you want to escape it, you're gonna have to be patient. At some point in life, you're just gonna have to be patient because it's like
Sure.
that whole notion or that whole mindset of, oh, if I'm waiting, that means something is wrong. That's not necessarily gonna serve me or apply to this because it's just like it's not necessarily like, oh, it's no guarantee that, oh, something's wrong. It's more so like they just haven't gotten to it yet and they're not going to get to it yet because of XYZ, because that's just their process. They start looking after the date that the application closes. And so
Yep.
it's like I have no way of knowing, and it's not healthy for me to assume, oh, something's wrong, because it's just like, oh no, that's not how I don't know, I'm getting off track. I feel like the point is, Josias, you're just gonna have to wait. I can't escape being patient in life. Like, I'm either gonna willingly be patient or I'm gonna force to be patient.
Yeah.
You
One
know,
way or
it's
another.
yeah, I'm like one hurts more than the other. So I'm just like, one hurts
Yep.
more than the other. So I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I rather not hurt than hurt if I don't need to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it like
sounds
that.
good.
So I hope that that made sense.
It definitely does. I've
Oh,
been there before. I think everybody has to an extent, right? So definitely got you
yes.
there. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, chasing dopamine, Coby. What's that mean? What's that mean to you, Coby? Because I know what it means to me.
uh, I mean, I think for myself, it just comes down to like, I don't know. You mentioning social media is kind of a different. I didn't really consider too much of it before. To me, it's more of like a discipline thing, or at least maybe lack thereof. Because chasing dopamine to me has a lot of different meanings, from like certain addictions to just going out to eat fast food when you're trying to be on a diet or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just maybe impulsive and just lacking that I don't know if it's a skill or whatever you want to call it, but just to say no to those urges because you know there's something greater, like
Mm-hmm.
delayed gratification. If you're on a path to something and then you kind of give in to little impulses here and there, it can kind of get you off track a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that self discipline is very important to, at, at the very least, mitigating um, the times where you want to get that dopamine hit. I mean, I think most things are pretty good in moderation, right? Like,
Right.
absolutely nothing wrong with going on your phone or like going out to eat or whatever. Like, be human. It's fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But I think everyone has their limits, and I think that if it starts affecting you negatively, and that's something that you also kind of need to realize about yourself if you want to take it seriously. And I think to me, chasing dopamine, like if you're on your phone for 30 minutes because you're stressed out about something and it turns into like 4 hours, and it's like, damn, could have just stayed for like 30 minutes and went back to it, and like just having the resolve to go back, figure it out or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, or if you're trying to get off an addiction and it's like resisting those urges to go back to it. Of course, you might have your falls here and there, but you really want to mitigate that as absolutely as much as possible because
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way you're going to get over it. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that's kind of the overall theme of what that means to me. It's just making sure you if you have a problem with it, realizing that you have an issue with it, if it's
Yeah.
affecting your productivity or any aspect of your life, then self realization is kind of the first part, and then just developing discipline to not give in to those urges as much.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm definitely hearing that. Sorry, I mini burped.
You're Gucci.
When that kind of made me think of like for me, when I think of chasing dopamine, um, for me at least, it becomes unhealthy when it's harming me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like porn addiction and webcam
Right.
addiction. You know, like that has that dopamine factor, that chasing dopamine factor. But that's not like porn, statistically speaking and psychologically speaking, it doesn't do good things for the brain in the long term. And it's
Agreed.
just like, yeah. And so I'm just like chasing dopamine. And I'm just like, on it, we're humans. We're going to have like dopamine. Our brain has that. It's just like when that dopamine, becomes when that dopamine is tied to something that is going to harm us, that is going to like intentionally harm us, um, for an addiction. There we go. That's what I mean to say. When like
Mm-hmm.
at least for me, I'll just speak for me. When dopamine is tied to an addiction, that's when like that's like when I hear that word dopamine, I think of addiction not because I know there's a drugs called dope or dopamine. It's just like for me, my personal experience with chasing dopamine is yeah, it's like associated with that like porn addiction. And it's
Yep.
like what that does to someone's mind and their outlook. And it's like it creeps up on you slowly. You don't just see, oh, here are the effects of porn addiction. Like it creeps up slowly. So it's just like
Yeah.
my dopamine is just not only my not only to that activity, but it's like obviously that does bring type of dopamine, but it's like that dopamine is just damaging me. Now, if it's the dopamine from skydiving, which I love skydiving, that isn't unhealthy for me. That is
Yeah.
actually healthy for me because the way it makes me view myself, the way it just shows me that there is fun. There can be fun on the other side of fear. It's not just here's fear and then finished. You know, sometimes I'm scared of that. It's just gonna be fear, and on the other side, it's gonna be nothing good. You're just like, no, no, no. There's fear doesn't always mean that there's just torment on the other side. You know,
Mhm.
and for example, like you mentioned, like social media. I've tried to um, and I've been doing pretty good at it. Containing the dopamine hit from social media because if my dopamine is tethered to my social media, which is fine, it just becomes a problem when I'm needing that dopamine in order to reassure my value.
Yeah.
You know,
hmm
so
that'll do some damage.
yeah. So it's just like, yeah, dopamine definitely. I think it's a great thing. Do your thing, folks. Um, I just if it starts to really like damage you,
Sure.
like it gives you a rush, like like for example, like speeding or street racing. People do that sometimes. Mostly
Yeah.
the Mustangs and the Chargers that we see, or the Mustangs. It's always them. They're always red too, but they're like racing on the highway and stuff like that. That's a dopamine hit. Feels great, 1,000%.
Mhm.
However, it can start to it can be unhealthy because you could crash and die or kill someone else, and
Yeah. That. Yep.
yeah.
Very
So,
dangerous.
Kobe, do you have a Charger or a Mustang? Are you one of those people that it's
Nope.
always them?
I mean I did purchase a new vehicle, but unfortunately it does not. It's not a GT or Hellcat or whatever they are.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Because like every time I see them, I'm just like, can someone else start speeding? Because I'm like, it's only them, and I was just like, come on, especially when they're
I
red.
don't
You're
know,
like,
man. Some of those people in the old Mazdas really be putting the pedal to the floor sometimes. I don't know. It's they're all wild cards these
listen,
days. I don't know.
I wish I had that boldness that they have on the road. I wish I had that same boldness to like go up to someone that I like.
Do it, man. What's
I don't
stopping
have
you?
that same boldness, and I'm just like,
I don't either. I don't know why I'm trying to say anything. but
so
yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
man. So well, I mean, honestly, watch I end up with one of those vehicles. I won't be speeding though. I won't be speeding.
Say that now.
I'm scared of the road, man. I'm scared. Oh, I'm scared of driving in Houston. There we go.
Oh
Boom.
my God, bro! Houston was absolutely terrible. I do
Yeah.
not miss driving around Houston. It is the
Right.
worst thing ever. And the worst part is that there's no way to get around without a car. There's nowhere to walk.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, because there's a difference between driving and then driving in Houston. There's
Yeah,
clearly a clear distinction.
it's so bad. People don't go to Houston. Well, go to Houston, but drive minimally. Get someone else to
Yes.
drive you.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Houston's great. Everything has its pros and cons. The cons of Houston is the traffic and the way people drive there. It's beautiful. Love it. But yes, Kobe. Well, thank you for your time, Totes, for coming back on. You're an all star. People miss you, and it's great to have you back on, Kobe.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Always here to
Yay.
impart wisdom.
Yeah. Okay. Also, now that you have, now that you're out of school, do you plan on starting your own podcast? Because you mentioned to me that you've always wanted to do a podcast.
I'm not sure. I haven't let go of that dream, but
You
I
have plenty of
really
time.
need to nail down the subject matter.
Hmm.
I haven't really decided if it's gonna be like informal and personal, right? Or if it's gonna be tailored towards like more STEM related, like business idea kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Probably not that actually. Um, I don't know. Just really, there's enough business gurus or whatever. I just personally think that there's some aspects of business within STEM, like sustainability, carbon capture and like renewable energy type stuff. That can be cool, but is the audience there? I don't really know.
Well,
So
who says it has to be one specific subject matter the whole podcast? I mean, each episode could be
that's
something
another thing.
different.
Yeah, they can just kind of be whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And though there are many, other folks like that you just said, that talk about the same certain things, but none of them is Coby.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. Have a good point. Think
Yeah,
about
and
that.
us here at Vulnerability Time, we will support, whenever you're ready to, because you're part of the Vulnerability Time family. You know, if in the future, if you do
Happy to
decide,
be here.
hey, you're going to start a podcast, one, you let me know and I can help you out if you need any help. Um,
Oh yeah, you'd be the first person I'd go to for sure.
yeah, so I can,
For sure.
walk you through the steps, answer any questions you might have, yada yada yada. But two, you just come on here and you let us know that you're starting a podcast, and we will support and we will have your back.
Of course, appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you in advance to everybody. And if
Oh,
anyone else is thinking about doing it, hey, go do it. You're
yeah.
you. No one else is you out there. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. We love to hear that wisdom. Alrighty, folks, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time with All Star Coby.
Yes, sir.
Bye, everyone.